Today we are going to be making fajitas with the best homemade steak marinade ever. So welcome everybody. The first thing that we're going to start doing is working on our marinade. There's really no need, look at me, I'm trying to get my life together, but there's really no need for you to be buying pre-made marinades. A lot of them are super salty and they have a bunch of stuff in there that you don't need. Putting a marinade together takes less than 5 minutes, and this one is super amazing. As always, the ingredients and measurements will be in the description box, but so far what I've done is I added some green onion and some cilantro. Next up, I'm going to be adding the juice of 2 limes. Now this marinade, the reason why it's so amazing is because we're going to be adding so much flavor, and you're going to see all of that coming up. But this is not any, like salt, pepper, pat, and then throw it into the fryer, okay? We are making sure that this thing gets marinated, gets to sit overnight, all of that. So I added in 3 cloves of garlic, and then I added a whole jalapeno with the seeds included. If you don't like super spicy food, I would split the jalapeno and remove the seeds. Next, I added in some cumin, and then I added in some steak seasoning. After that, I'm going to be adding in some chili powder and some black pepper. Now, I have been having so much time to cook lately because I think I'm on like day 26 of quarantine. What day are you guys on? I'm on day 26 of quarantine, and I'm surprised that I'm still getting access to some of these ingredients, like it's really lucky that I'm finding some of this stuff. I added in just a tiny bit of water, just enough to make sure that the blender is able to process everything, and boom, that's what it should look like once everything is blended. I know it's not cute, it's not a cute look, but the taste is what we're here for. So here's my piece of steak. It's not the best piece of steak that you could possibly find, but in these Rona times, in these quarantine times, we do what we can. Now, typically when you're making fajitas, you want to get flank steak. But today, the only thing that I had access to was this top round steak. And what I'm showing you is the lines in the steak, which is going to help you, it's going to act as a guide to help you cut the steak properly. Okay? As you can see, the lines in that piece of steak that I'm showing you are going horizontally. And so you want to cut against the grain. So it's going horizontally, and you want to cut against the grain, which means that you're going to cut vertically. If you cut along the grain, then you're going to get really stringy, nasty steak, and you don't want that. Once I have everything sliced into 1/4 inch slices, I put it all in a Ziploc bag, put in the marinade, rub it in, and leave it overnight. The next day, this entire thing shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes to put together. Those are my favorite kind of recipes, the ones where you can just throw it together in a second and it looks like you put in a ton of effort. So I am chopping up my vegetables for the fajitas, and I'm also chopping up my vegetables for the fresh guacamole that we're going to be making. So for the fajitas, I had peppers and red onions, and for my guacamole, I have some tomatoes, some white onions, some jalapeno, and some cilantro. Next, you want to make sure that your pan is super hot with some avocado oil before you throw in your onions and peppers for the fajitas. One thing that was really petty that I wanted is that I wanted some green peppers, just because I wanted some variety in color, some nice pop of color. But again, in these Rona times, you get what you get, so I had to settle for the red, the orange, and the yellow. But you want to cook those until your onions become translucent and your peppers become soft. So then you want to remove your peppers and onions from the pan and get ready to add in your steak. Like I said, you want to make sure that your pan is super hot. Like, you can see that my pan is almost smoking. And when you add in your steak, you should see that sizzle. And you don't want to overcrowd your pan, because what happens if you overcrowd your pan, especially with this marinade on it, is your steak is gonna steam up instead of fry up. You know what I mean? So it's gonna get almost like a boiled look or a steamed look, and it won't get that nice brown crust on it. So be careful. If you can't make all of your steak in one batch, consider making it in maybe 2 or 3 batches. In the end, this is what my brown steak looked like, and there's a little less in there than what I actually put in because I already ate some, so judge your mother. So then I went ahead and added my onions and peppers back into the pan and moved that all around to make sure that they're all mixed up together. At this point, the fajitas are typically super hot, so while that is cooling down, I will start to make my guac. And the guac that I'm making today is a pretty standard guacamole recipe. You can spice it up and do different things to it, but I feel like since our steak has so many different flavors going on already, I wanted to keep my guac fairly simple. Here you see me adding in 2 avocados, and I would like to say that even though you see me adding in 2 avocados, I really ended up using 3 just because I knew that I would be eating more. Guac is that girl. Guac is that girl at the party that everybody's staring at, you know what I mean? Like she's getting all the attention. So why not make more? And I'm really glad that I made more because this did not last at all. Like, I thought that it would last beyond the fajitas for me to make a couple of tacos, but like I said, once you make guac, it disappears really quickly. So I mashed up my avocados with a fork, and then I started adding in the vegetables that we had pre-chopped earlier. So I'm slowly adding in my tomatoes, my cilantro, my onions, throwing all of that in there. And you know what? I just thought about, like, I've seen a couple people online talking about how they don't like avocados. How do you not like avocados? Like, what kind of monster are you? You know what I mean? That made me upset. Back to the recipe. So we're going to be squeezing in the juice of 1 lime and incorporating that in with some salt. Make sure you don't over salt the guac. Add in a little bit at a time because you can always add more, but once it's in there, you cannot take it away. So add in small pinches of salt at a time and taste as you go. And there it is. I like my guac a little bit chunky, just like that. And all together, I put in some tortillas on the side with some sour cream on the side, and those are my fajitas. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you back next time. Bye!